Hey everybody. So man, I'm here. I wanted to make this video real quick and I'll try to keep it brief, but this really is just kind of my thoughts of what I'm expecting out of the hobby and the kind of things that I'm trying to do. In general, how I feel about this hobby and just basically kind of my take on things, especially the last game, the A&T Hampton game that I did, and I think that this is probably going to become a kind of a tradition, if you will, for me. After each game, I'm gonna just kind of do some talks and just give my take on how I felt about it and things I could have done better, things that need improvement, in general, things about each team. So with the Hampton A&T game, it was actually my very first complete game that I've ever played in this hobby. Now, back in the 80s, I had EFL figures from Eagle Tudor. I had the NFL figures. And you guys remember back in the day, the Green Bay Packers that came with the little dot on the helmets. And we didn't really know what we were doing back in that time. And it's crazy because I had like 8 different teams, and I know I had at least 3 boards. And we broke up all of that stuff. So, we really had no idea what we had. And after Nintendo came out, we never really looked back. We never even thought about this again. And then some years ago, about a year ago, I was sitting around the house and got online, and I was actually researching something for an assignment that I had when I was working on my master's, and I ran into the MFCA website, and I could not believe how much this game has evolved. Now, just a little quick background blurb on me. I've been playing Warhammer, like war games, Warhammer 40,000 in particular, since '96, and I'm definitely well over 10,000 or even more into this game already. It's a game that I really love, and I've always loved tabletop games, but it's a very expensive hobby. Games Workshop is really expensive. Any one figure, there are figures out there that can cost you upwards of $600 for one figure, especially when you start getting into Forge World, Thunderhawks, and so forth. So the hobby is very expensive, but it's a hobby that I love. And being a huge football fan, when I discovered that the MFCA had not let electric football die, I was in Candyland. I was all over the website, joined up right away, got on the forums, started meeting people. And so for me, I'm completely new to this thing. So doing the Aggies Hampton game was a big treat for me because I went to an HBCU and I love the atmosphere and the energy of college football games. And there's just so much pageantry and so much tradition behind the college games that I love. I don't really get into professional football. I love football in general, but I don't really get into professional football because it's professional football. The way that I see it is, there's the energy's not the same. It's kind of, you're playing as a job, and your goal is to not get injured, so you don't really go all the way out. Like the college players play, because they're those that energy is there. It's a kind of it's something that you can't really put your hands on. It's that feeling that you get when you walk into the field and you hear the bands playing, and you have the traditional chants, and you have like the tradition behind this thing. And it's with the players, is not driven by money, it's driven by pride for the school that you're representing, and I like that feeling. So one of the things that I'm trying to do, and the reason that I decided to do a solitaire league, is because I want to do a college conference, my fantasy college conference. Fantasy athletic teams, 8 of those teams, the Fat 8 of my favorite schools. And I want to capture those schools' traditions. I want to capture the feeling and the spirit of college football. I want to try to bring it to my games, where when you're watching Fat 8 games, I want you to feel like you're at the college stadium, and you hear the bands, you hear the cheerleaders, you hear people cheering and whistling. You feel the energy, of the game. I want you to feel the momentum change. Every offense is going to have every team is going to have a unique offense to that team. No team is going to use the same offense. No team is going to use the same defense. This is one of the things I tried to illustrate in this game. I found very challenging to have Hampton U using a spread offense, where they're not going to have 2 backs in the backfield with the quarterback under the center all of the time. They're going to be in the spread, in the shotgun, and it's mostly pass first, run second. And that was one of the things that got them into trouble. But I'm also new to passing. When I first started out doing this thing a few months ago, the easiest way for me to do this was to go with the Buzzball passing simulation, because I had no idea how to use this action passing figure. I had no idea how it worked. I couldn't get the ball to go straight. And I have to give my shout out, man, to Mr. Reginald Rutledge. He had a video on YouTube, and he was passing with this thing, man, and he wasn't missing. And I was amazed, and I was like, how is he doing this? And so I would just put his video on, and I would just sit beside the video and watch it, and I would grab my figure, and I'm looking at how his hands is positioned and how he's positioning the figure. And I just practiced it over and over and over again, and every day for for a few weeks, I would take 15 minutes out of my day, and I would just practice. And I still ain't got it, but I'm getting a little better. I mean, in the game, I was able to complete some passes. I'm feeling more confident about it. I'm getting it. Same thing with tweaking bases. I knew that the Aggies would have an advantage because I had my Aggies longer. It's the first team that I did, and I mean, it's not painted as well as I would like for it to be, but I always can redo it as I get better. But what I realized was I've been tinkering around with their bases for so long. The majority of the team, I got all of their bases tweaked, and they perform very well. Whereas my Hampton Pirates is a team that I've only had 48 hours, if that. And I just had some new bases that I just threw on them and did a quick tweak. I didn't expect them to stand up against the Aggies, but for me it was all about the fun and trying to capture the atmosphere. So yeah, man, that's kind of where I stand right now with this thing. My video's getting a little long, so I'm gonna cut it here shortly, but yeah, that's where I stand, man. I'm really all about the pageantry and the tradition of college football, and the stadium, the team entrances, and you know, the crowd chants. I'm all about that 12th man, and you know, it's a wonderful thing. Like, the spirit of college ball is just something that I'm really passionate about, and I found that I enjoy this. I'm enjoying this hobby so much now that I've refound it, and so I'm definitely looking into trying to start a league in my area at some point. Right now, I'm gonna do my solitaire thing though, because there's nothing like being able to have my quiet time and come up here and just kind of lose myself in this thing and have a good time. So that's where I am. So yeah, man, I'm gonna do a lot of games right now. All I have is my Aggies board, but once I start getting more boards done for the other teams, then I'll start getting their home jerseys, and eventually, probably more towards the second season. The first season is just going to be all Aggies. My Aggies at home taking on the 8 other teams. And then in season 2, by that time, I'll have home jerseys for the other teams, and I'll have field covers for the other teams. And then my Aggies will start traveling, going to the other schools, and I'll do the entire season from the perspective of all of the schools and not just from my alma mater. So that's going to be fun. The other big project I got coming down the pike is I'm actually going to try my hand at building the stadium. I'm going to try my hand at building a stadium around my field. I'm going to get around to that. I would love to have the cheerleaders and the guys on the sideline, the chain gang, all of the referees, the coaches. You know, it's gonna be a lot of fun. So that's the direction that I'm going in, man. And I got a lot to do. I have a lot to learn. So my shout outs, man. Big Trick, thank you, man, for doing Ohio State for me. I can't even thank you enough, man. I really appreciate it. Mark, I want to reach out to you. Thank you for the bases. You know, I couldn't have done this without you, man. The bases and the motors. I had no idea how to even get started. Had you not reached out to me, I probably still wouldn't have a playing board. I might have ended up just buying a board from someplace else. So, definitely, man, I appreciate it. Jerry McGee, same thing, man. Good looking out. Like the videos. EC, the electric coach, you inspired me, man. You big inspiration to me. I love watching your videos. Keep it up, man. I'm really always looking out for you doing something new. Hadn't seen anything from you for a while, so I keep checking. So definitely, man, drop some more videos for us. Mr. Reginald Rutledge, awesome figures. I bought me a bag of 24 from him. I love watching them pass with the action passer. I learned a lot from that. Definitely looking into doing some customizations. Actually, the figure that you guys saw do the freshman walk-on video that I did for my figurehead. This was a figure that I customized, guys. When I did the freshman walk-on for Dedrick Williams. That's a customized figure right there. This is my very first customized figure right here that I did for that video. I got one quarterback that I'm doing for my Notre Dame team. I'll show that to you guys once I get them all painted up. Alright, I'm reaching 15 minutes now. I need to stop. Sorry for such a long thing. I just wanted to talk with you guys though and let you know.